Alright, welcome. Today's video, I'm going to be doing an upgrade on my 2011 Ford F250 Super Duty. And what I'm doing today, I'm going to be working on headlights, installing new headlights. So this is a 2011. These headlights spent most of their life in the really hot Texas sun, and they're yellowing and they're faded, and I wanted to do an upgrade anyway, so it's the perfect time to do that. So what I was looking for is some projector headlights that I could install some HID or LED bulbs in. So in this video I'm going to be testing out an HID setup versus an LED setup in a projector housing on a replacement for my F250. Alright, so before I get started, I wanted to get some initial measurements on my headlight aim. And what I did is, most standard aiming guidelines tell you to be 25 feet away from your wall. So at night, this garage door makes a perfect spot to aim a set of headlights. And we'll measure 25 feet from the bottom of the garage door, and that tape on the ground represents 25 feet. And you need to make sure that it's 25 feet from this side and this side of the front of your truck, which is how you know it'll be facing perfectly straight. Has to be on level ground. And on all headlights there's a dot, and it's kind of hard to see, but in the middle of the headlight, or on most headlights there is, and that shows you your center point. So you'll measure from your center point to the ground, and in my case it was 34 inches on both lights. So I walked over to the garage, 25 feet out, I measured up from the ground and made a line at 34 inches. And what that means is that you want the hot spot in your lights at or below this line. That way you don't blind oncoming drivers. This right here is just a reference for my high beams. And that doesn't really matter because wherever your low beams are adjusted, your high beams are going to follow. When we get into projectors, it changes things a little bit. You have two separate cutoffs. I'll show you how I do that later in the video. But for now, I just wanted to get a baseline. When I turned on my headlights, which I can't show you now because it's bright out, they do shine right at this line and below. The halogen reflectors were aimed, the factory lights were aimed properly. So it gives me a reference spot to where to put the new ones in case they're way off. Alright, so here's one of the new headlights. And you do have multiple options when it comes to headlights for your Super Duty. And I went with a little bit more of a rare of an option for a specific reason. I do like their Spider. They go under many different brand names, but I'll show you a picture here of what I'm talking about. I strongly considered going with those headlights because of the look. But I ended up going with these here. I'll leave a link in the description below to where I got them for two reasons. First reason being they have a bi-xenon projector. What that means is there's one bulb that's lit, and to actuate the high beams, what it will actually do is move a mechanical shutter, and then you'll get the full burst of light without the shutter for a high beam. The advantage of this over the other version is normally they have a cheap halogen reflector for the high beam in the other lights, and most people say that the performance is horrible, and I live out in the country and I want good high beam lights. So there's the first reason I went with these over the other one. The second reason is these look more like the factory lights. They're the exact same setup with the turn signal on the top and your headlight on the bottom. The same size, same lens, same reflector on the side. They just look like they're upgraded. You have these daytime running lights, and on these lights, unlike the other ones, they are not completely plug and play. You have a separate outlet here for your daytime running lights, and I actually prefer this instead of being tied into the parking lights, because now I'll be able to wire this to an ignition source, and my daytime running lights will be daytime running lights. These will be on anytime the truck is running, and that's exactly what I want. So during the day, they'll be bright enough to be seen, they'll work, and then when I turn on my headlights, they obviously will stay on, and you know, you'll have your separate headlight control. Alright, so there's a lot of debate, reflector versus projector headlights. I would never put an LED bulb, or an HID bulb especially, in a factory or aftermarket reflector headlight. Not only is it illegal, but it's just dangerous, and you, no matter what you do, you can't control the glare that comes off. And we've all seen, you know, bright LED lights coming at us on the road, and not are they probably aimed improperly, but even if they are aimed properly, they're still going to put out a lot of glare to oncoming drivers. So that's why I always use projectors when I'm doing HIDs. So in this case, these are H7 projectors, and they do come with a halogen bulb, but in this case, as in a lot of cases of a lot of these type of lights, like the ones I used to have in my Raptor, it was actually designed with a HID system in mind. They do have a nice sharp cutoff, and there's no stray light that comes out above the cutoff line. So I have a Morimoto 35 watt HID ballast and bulb. It's an H7 that will fit this, so we'll try that. And I'm also going to try the new Morimoto 2.0 LED bulbs. So I just got them in the mail today. These are the Morimoto 2-stroke 2.0 H7 bulbs, and they're about $120. So they are a lot more expensive than some Amazon cheap bulbs, but you do absolutely get what you pay for. You're paying for that name, and that name is reliability. I had one Morimoto ballast go bad over the years, and it was replaced under warranty, and they put out the actual amount of power they say they do. When you go on Amazon and you find those kits saying they put out 10,000 lumens, that's a lie. It's a complete bogus advertising BS lie. None of those kits on Amazon work well. Some of them work better than others, for sure, but if you see something that says 10,000 lumens, it's a joke. There's no LED bulb that does that, so keep that in mind. Realistically, these put out around 2,000 to 3,000 lumens. They are brighter than a halogen bulb for sure. I doubt these will beat the performance of an HID bulb, so that's what I'm going to find out. I prefer to use LED because it is an easier installation, and it is going to be somewhat cheaper, and if it has good light output and is brighter than the halogen bulbs that are in here, then it's a win-win. So we're going to see which one I like more, and we'll go with that. Alright, I'm not going to lie, I really hope that these LEDs work out for me, and the reason I say that is because look how small they are compared to an HID ballast. This whole thing will be able to fit inside of the headlight housing, and I won't have to make any modifications at all to the wiring. Whereas if I go with the HID setup, I'm going to have to cut out these wires here and add in a new rubber grommet that has all the HID wiring, because the ballast has to be mounted on the outside of the lights, etc. It's just going to make it a little more complicated. It's what I've always done in the past though, so not a huge deal, but definitely a lot more plug and play for the LED bulbs. Alright, so the first step to take out the old headlights is we have to remove the grill. It's actually pretty easy. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 10mm bolts that need to come out, and there's some clips along the bottom from the inside, and then the whole grill comes off. There's 4 clips, you just push them down, and then the whole grill comes off like this. Set it someplace that's protected. Unbolt the headlights. you just undo connector with the bulb still on it because they're going to screw into our new headlights. Alright, so in the passenger side headlight here, I've got a Morimoto HID H7 bulb. It's a 6500 K bulb, and I'm just going to have that temporarily installed in there. Another one, I'll put the Morimoto LED bulb, and we'll do a little comparison. Pull off the connector. Now this is our Morimoto 2-stroke LED bulb. Make sure you don't touch it with your fingers. So we're moving the halogen bulb here. Install it in the same orientation. Now obviously this is not going to fit around here at all. So we're going to have to come up with some new kind of way to retain this. I'm thinking if I just snip this right down the middle, then I can stretch it around. It should work. Or just pull one of these out like that. Yeah, go around. Okay. Alright, that is in there. That was kind of a pain in the butt. You have to trim it up a little bit. But it is possible. And then, like I said, the nice thing is this whole little piece can hide down inside here. And we'll have a wiring adapter to adapt this to that. That in there. Tuck all this down, or it won't be in the way if we need to adjust the light. So there's that. Now it's ready to plug in. So you can kind of see how it'll look. It's nice. And those DRL tubes look good with the white truck. Alright, I've got it pulled into the garage. It's a little darker. You can see on this side over here, we have our HID light. 35 watt. This side we have our 2-stroke LED bulb. They look to be about the same color temperature. We turn around. Alright. Now if I block the HID bulb, there's just our LED headlight. Okay. If I come over here and block the LED, so there's definitely a little bit more of a hot spot on the HID bulb. But it's not really that different. Let's see if just right up along the line you can see I blocked the bulb. I don't know if you can hear that in the video, but you can actually hear the fan running in the LED, which is normal, but it is kind of noticeable. So I've decided to go with the LEDs. It looked like, I mean, this isn't scientific or anything, but it looked like they were putting out a lot of light. Not quite as much as the HID, but I like the simplicity of the LED, and it definitely looks like it's more than, you know, the stock halogen output. So we're going to try it out. We're going to go with those. So now I'm kind of working on the circuit for the daytime running lights, and my solution for that is to pull off the circuit or the fuse cover under the hood here on the Super Duty. I've got a spare, it's just a post right here. So that's the little row of fuses here, and then this first open spot. I don't know if that'll be open on your truck or not, but this whole row here is energized only when the ignition is on. So there's this spade terminal here, a male spade, that I'm going to use to supply power. And I'm just going to run power and ground. I'll just grab the ground off a body ground right here, and the power from here, and I'll run that down to this headlight and then split it and run it across to the passenger side light, and we'll just connect into here. So anytime the ignition is on, and it has to be not just the radio but the actual ignition, then the daytime running lights will be on. Alright, so there it is plugged in, it's fused. I'll just put a little 1 amp fuse on here, and there's the ground screwed into the firewall. So I'll put this in some plastic tubing, this stuff here, just to make it neat. I'm going to put the cover back on and we'll run it down up to the headlight here. Alright, so you want to make sure everything's buttoned up and all the wiring just barely fits inside of this cap, but we can get it to fit, and then this weather seal gets compressed around here. Alright, got everything wired up in place. We're going to go ahead and screw everything back together. So put your 4 bolts back in each headlight, and we'll be ready to get everything pieced up. Then we can start aiming the lights. Now on these lights, there's an adjustment. It shows you right here which way to turn it for up and down. Basically a long Phillips head will turn it, but you have to be very careful when you're adjusting these. If you go too far, there really is no stops, so you probably break the headlight. So you just got to be careful and go little tiny bits at a time until you get it where you want it. Alright, so there's the finished product all back together. You can see when the truck starts, daytime running lights come on. Alright, I've got my truck repositioned 25 feet away from the garage. Here's our finished product. I like how it looks. It's not too much. The white matches the truck really well. Alright, so even though it's not dark yet, you can see how far off we are. I can actually go ahead and aim these, so I can actually see the light on the garage door. So the left side is really low. The right side is just about where it needs to be. Get the screwdriver in the slot. You'll see as I turn it, you'll see the headlight come up. Alright, now the space between the two different beams should be the space between your headlights. So in this case, we can't actually adjust that though, because there's no horizontal adjustment on the lights, but if there is, you could move the lights like this, you can actually bring that closer or wider. Alright, well, I've got them aimed where I want them. I know it's kind of hard to see because it's daylight, but the top of the line of the light is right here. Then you can see this is the left side, and the right side comes up to that line there. Normally this cutoff, or this line, would go right across to here, but there's a little bit of a dark area in between the two right here, and since there's no horizontal adjustment, it's just how it's going to be. I don't want to bring them up. I'm going to start here, we'll drive it on the road, see how it looks. Now if I turn on the high beams, you'll see just pulls up the shutter, puts the light up the full lens. One of them is a little faster than the other one. Alright, it's dark. Trying to try out the headlights, so here they are. The bright's on. Looks pretty good. Alright, now here's another little test. I know with my HIDs I sometimes have a lot of problems with the interference with the radio. So we'll turn on the radio, turn the lights on,
For Luke Bryan on the Big Time. This is Knockin' Boots.
try different stations. Try a station that's a little further away. Alright, so far there's absolutely no difference, which is really good. Sometimes LEDs and HIDs especially can interfere with the radio, so we don't have any of that, so that's good. Alright, so I'm pretty pleased with the results. It's the first time I've used LEDs in a projector, and they definitely have made a lot of progress in the last few years, so I'm pleased with the results. So hopefully this video helped you out. I know there's not a whole lot out there about aftermarket headlight options for our 2011-16 Super Duty trucks. So maybe this gave you an idea. If it did, give me a like, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you have any questions. We'll see you next time.